Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michele, and you're listening to Numbers Don't Lie. We learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Today, just like any other day, I have a very special guest, and they're going to give you some great insights on how we think about data. Her perspective about data is different from mine, but also true to what I know about it. Because the show is called Numbers Don't Lie. So a lot of times when I talk about data, people always think I mean numbers. That's the name of the show. Your data sciences. Yes, but data is not just numbers. It's any piece of information that'll help you make your next best decision. So this next guest I met on LinkedIn, right? Like LinkedIn is a great place to meet other professionals that are like yourself if you want to connect. So if you have not got on LinkedIn, it's time for you to get on LinkedIn. So I met her on LinkedIn. We've definitely been, doing some things together, working together because we're in such a niche space and we're Black women in data. So, I mean, it makes sense for us to collaborate. So it's collaboration over competition here. So without further ado, guys, please welcome to the Numbers Don't Lie stage, Princess Jennings, otherwise known as the Bounty Hunter. Hey, Princess.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for joining. How are you?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. Everything is going well on my end. How about you?
You know, it's good. I'm gonna say like you. I can't complain, and I'm trying to be better with not complaining. So I can't complain. So let's dive on in. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you landed into this field? Because I didn't give them much.
Okay. Yep. So as you said, my name is Princess Jennings. A little about me. I am originally from Meridian, Mississippi, born and raised there. I am the oldest of three girls. Um, I love to travel. I like trying new foods. Absolutely love trying new foods. I love dogs. I have two dogs, Layla and Pancake, who I love dearly. And I'm a plant mom. I have over 200 plants, and that's real plants. I love real plants.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm a playing mom too, but my goodness, you put me to shame. 200?
Yes, I love them. It was something that my grandmother and I did when I was younger. We would just take plants and regrow them. So I continued it as I came into adulthood.
Love that. Yeah, see, I found my tribe. Okay.
I will tell you how I came into the field. My bachelor's degree is in criminal justice. I graduated from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I started out working right after college. I started out working at a bank in corporate security, but I enjoyed what I was doing there. But I got a little bored just working behind a desk. So I wanted to do something different. So I started applying for different jobs and everything. So I put it in an application, a research interviewer at a institution. I got the job. Loved what I did there. So I worked there for I say about a year. Yeah, about a year. Enjoyed everything about it. I was able to go out in the field, work with the community. And while doing that, the project manager there was like, we absolutely love you. We love what you do. You help the community a lot. Would you like to make more money? I was like, yeah. He was like, how about resigning from this position and come on as a subcontractor? I was like, okay. So I decided to do that. I did that for a while. He came back to me with another great opportunity. He said, have you ever thought about starting your own business? I was like, no, I haven't. He said, I think that would be a great opportunity because if you do that, you can help the community even more by helping other organizations and more academic institutions doing exactly what you do.
Nice.
So I saw it as a great opportunity, even though I didn't know what it would look like because I would have to learn how to be a business owner and all of that. Um, I've always heard the quote, if somebody give you a great opportunity, say yes and figure it out later. And so that's exactly what I did. I said yes and figured it out later. So that's how I started my career of an entrepreneur.
That's awesome. Well, first of all, I love hearing the story of your becoming because I think sometimes, especially as Black women, we have a tendency to get in business to help people.
Mhm.
And I love that you were able to turn something into a business, but still keeping true to helping people. Because a lot of times we feel like we got to either do a nonprofit or we got to be like these evil people to make money. I'm like, no, you can do both. You can make money and you can help your community. So I love that you do that. And that's a part of your story.
Absolutely.
Now, you're known as bounty hunter. Like I introduced you as that, and that was on your LinkedIn. Could you tell us how you coined that name?
I'm known as the data bounty hunter. And
You're
because one
right.
day I was just laying on the couch watching TV, the actual bounty hunter, where they go out and track criminals. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like that. I like that. So my company, we're the feet in the street. We go out wherever the data is, we go out and collect it and bring it back to our partners. And I was like, jackpot, the data bounty hunters, because it doesn't matter where that data is. It can be in jails, treatment facilities, hospitals, and my team go out, get that data, and bring it back to our partners so they're able to do what they need to do with the data.
I love that. And I love the fact that you were actually watching the show, The Bounty Hunter. That makes it all the more better. And honestly, I love that you do are in this field because I do come from a research background and trying to locate people is hard. Like sometimes people like they'll say, "Oh, why don't we know this?" or, or trying to estimate, certain rates about things and like if you can't find it. But I'm like, that's because it's hard. Like being able to track the amount of homeless people on the street, homeless children, it's hard because you got to find them. The people that have, suffer from substance abuse or all these different things, those are things are hard to find because these people are hard to keep track of. It's not like you can just roll it to their address, any old, you know what I mean? So I love that you
Exactly.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
and turn it into a business. I mean, I'm always gonna snap, snap, pew, pew, pew to that because that's amazing because I literally don't know anyone else that has turned this into a business. Okay, so I'm a numbers girl. Like,
I
the
do.
show's called Numbers Don't Lie. But I do also understand the value of qualitative data. Like, I'm in the data world, so we get all sorts of it. It's not just numbers, it's sentences, it's, categorical things, it's, what's your industries, all types of things. But what made you want to focus on the qualitative side? And you might have answered a little bit in your becoming story. What made you want to focus on the qualitative side as opposed to saying like, nah, I kind of like number crunching?
Well, I like qualitative because it focuses on the why and the how, and it
Mm,
tells about people experiences. And to me, that's what's most important.
yeah.
And most important about all of this is I'm good at it. And we love to do things that we're good at. So that's my story on why I like the qualitative side of things. And I'll also tell you this, one of my connections on LinkedIn said her professor said to her, people who like qualitative research are nosy. And I'm gonna have to say, you know what? She may be right. I may be a little bit nosy, but I'll take that. But we all want to know the why.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
sometimes when we don't know the why, that bothers us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll
That's
I'll I'll own up to that. I may be a little bit nosy, and that's what makes me good at my job.
I love that. I love that perspective, but you're so right. Even in the world that I am, like I do a lot more with the data as far as numbers, quantifying and calculated percentages and prevalence and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we always want to know why. Like, why do we see this? And it always comes back to people like you that helps us, like, okay, well, can you go talk to, get a focus group together? Or could you go help us understand like why is it that I'm in, down in the South? You are too, and we would call like have you heard of the 95 corridor?
Mhm, mhm.
Corridor shame.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you don't know, the corridor shame, it's like, that area that flows with Highway 95, and typically on the southern side of it, you see worse, conditions, worse chronic conditions of it. So it's like more higher rates of diabetes, hypertension, all that stuff,
Mhm.
right? And so a lot of times you want to know why. So we'll calculate those rates. We're just like, well, why do we see that? And it's so many different it's so many ways you can answer it. And so I value and I appreciate people like you that helps us get to the whys. Like, is it the lack of, grocery stores? Is it, learned behavior? So many different ways you can take it. Did you know that data-driven organizations were 19 times more profitable? 19. You heard me right. Perhaps you're asking, what is data-driven and how do I become one of those organizations? I'm so glad you asked. I want you to go take a quiz. It's a simple, quick quiz to help you assess if you are in fact one of those organizations. Head over to mogulbeginnings.com/data into dollars quiz now. That's mogulbeginnings.com. You can just go to mogulbeginnings.com and it'll show you the data into dollars quiz. Take it now. You'll see if you're on your way to 19xing your profitability. You're listening to Numbers Don't Lie on KCCR Cityscape. We hope you're enjoying the tunes and all the jams. Make sure you visit our website over at brownstoneworldwide.com to learn about all things Brownstone. You can check out Brownstone Living Magazine and all the great things that we have on the website, as well as the shop. You just got to head over to the website, brownstoneworldwide.com. So could you talk to us about the challenges around data hunting? So getting to the people, getting to like the answers and like the challenges and difficulties that comes with it.
Some of the challenges is just, the unknowns. When we're out in these communities, we never know what we're going to walk into. So, that can be a bit scary. So I would say that is like the biggest challenges that we are faced with when we're going out into the community to say doing home visits or door knocking and things of that. That would be like the biggest challenge. Another thing another one of our barriers are, some of the participants, we don't necessarily have contact information on. So that will be the second things that we have a big challenge with.
How do you address that? Like when you don't have contact information on someone?
So that's where the research side of us come in at. We use the different resources that we have. We use social media. The home visits help a lot because sometimes the neighbors give us a bit more information.
Okay.
So things like that is very helpful.
That's what's up.
We have a lot of other techniques too, but I won't share those. That's when they can reach out to us for a discovery call and then hire us, and we'll, give a little more of our techniques that way.
You have proprietary information. I totally understand, but that makes a lot of sense, and it brings up something about, especially being a woman in the industry. I remember hearing about a young lady. She's in real estate, and part of what she does, she'll go visit some homes and go see what's available, what's out there. And I remember she posted a video on social media, and it was like her husband, I believe, and he was strapped. She was like, because we don't know what we're going to walk into. You have squatters there. You have people that are afraid. So you don't know if they're going to, what their reaction is going to be. So it didn't really, I don't say it didn't make sense then, but it makes even more sense now, hearing that you said, like, we're walking into the unknown. We don't know what we're going to come across. And especially people that are maybe living on the street or maybe not supposed to be somewhere. Listen, they're like, I'm protecting myself as you or me.
Right. But at the end of the day, we haven't really had too many encounters where even people who don't know us, it's all about how you treat people.
That's good.
And when we're out in the community, we're dressed like our community. A lot of times we look like the community. So kindness can go a long ways.
I love that. And that makes a lot of sense because coming from a research background, it's a lot of people that don't look like us that are in these spaces, that are in leadership, that are planning these studies and these projects. And you can't always send them to every neighborhood. You know what I mean? So I love the fact that you said, listen, we look like the community that we're going, because that really does make a big difference. Like if you look like you don't belong here, I'm not opening my door to you.
Right. And that's why CTS also hired a diverse team. So we're able to go in every neighborhood.
Let's go. Power of diversity. I love it.
Keeping it locked to KCCR Radio.
My station.
The Brownstone Center. And don't forget, no matter where you go, there we are.
Okay, so could you share some examples of how your work has impacted different communities?
It's very impactful because we work with, like I talk about the drug population and mental health, because with the data that we are collecting, we're able to help that population a lot
Mhm.
with the drug crisis. So we are able to be very informative for that population. I like to discuss another project that we work on that is very near and dear because of some family health issues. We work with a colon cancer study about the barriers that minorities and African Americans are facing, the reason they don't get tested for colon cancer. So we found out that a lot of them was just having transportation issues. With the Hispanics, there was no interpreters when they go to the doctor. So there was a language barriers there. So by us conducting focus groups and key informant interviews, that's valuable information that we can
Yeah.
take back to the doctors and to grant recipients and try to get more resources there for these populations.
I love that. And just for you guys that are listening, remember, I'm an epidemiologist. My dissertation work was around colorectal cancer. So hearing you say that, I can literally see how your work directly could, something like what you've done could have directly impacted the project that I worked on, where it was a patient navigation type of program. So in South Carolina, they have these two cancer programs where one is for breast cancer. It's called Best Action Network. And then another one's for colorectal cancer is CCPN, Colorectal Cancer Prevention Network. And so with CCPN, when I worked, I came in after, the program was already established. I just helped analyze the data. That's kind of how I got introduced to it. And it was a patient navigation program where they addressed those very things you just mentioned, making sure that they had transportation. And these nurse navigators were making sure, like, if they were coordinating with their churches, their neighbors, they were making
Right,
sure these people were getting to their appointments, getting to their visits. If it was an interpretation or needed a language interpreter, it was there. And it was so impactful that I think their show up rates were great. Like, they didn't have to worry about no shows because they addressed those barriers that you talked about. And they were actually servicing a community that is often overlooked. These
right,
are, they were uninsured. I think they were all uninsured and low income. And so those people typically aren't getting the necessary care that they need because a lot of sometimes it's between food or the doctor,
right.
bills, or their children or their medication. And it sounds very extreme to people that are middle class, or that's not a concern for you, but it is very real. And honestly, the way the economy is going is getting more and more real for everyday people. But through this program, they were able to, get people to their appointments, awesome show up rates, and there was no disparity in cancer rates. And so that's a big win for someone like me that's in the research world, that's always seeing that Black people are more at risk or have higher rates of this, of cancer, of all these things. So it was so nice to participate in a project where that was not the case, because they took care of all those barriers that actually plays more of a part than your ability to show up at a doctor. It's getting to the doctor that's
Right,
actually more important than your genetics alone.
right.
I'm glad you shared
Yeah, see, we have so much in common that we didn't even know about.
that. Ooh, are we plant moms? What else you say? You said something else.
My dogs.
No, I don't got no dogs, girl.
You need a
But
dog.
I live vicariously for y'all that have dogs. But my friends, they actually have a dog named Layla. What kind of dog is it?
I call them my hell if I know.
That is funny. Listen, you a low-key comedian too. Okay, we got that in common. Okay, before we start to wrap this up, I did want to ask, what type of institutions, for those that may be listening, what type of institutions or organizations typically reach out to you, or do you typically work with?
I work with a lot of academic institutions, nonprofits, and public health organizations.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Being in the research world. Okay, cool. Because I know some small business owners, and they're starting to get curious about just their industry, the people, their customers. Like, one business owner I know actually did a study to really learn about the needs of business owners. So even though you work for these academic institutions, those of you that are small business owners, still take heed of what Princess is saying, because the why and understanding your customer, your avatar, is always going to be important so you can better serve them. All right, so could you share where you see CTS or community tracking services in the next 5 years? Like, what's the big vision?
The big vision for us is I want to just continue to scale my business over the 50 states in the United States. That's my main goal. And I also want to start a nonprofit. I don't want to go into more details about that yet because I'm still working on some things there, but I want you guys to stay tuned there. Yeah, so that's where we at right now. So please stay tuned. Continue to follow us at www.communitytrackingservices.com for updates.
I love that. And when you say you want to be able to reach all 50 states, does that mean like you want to be able to touch it, like we do business there, or you plan to, you want to be able to have some satellite campuses that
I
makes
want to start out just continuing to touch it, and then
Mm,
that's for the next 5 years. And then I will continue to make more goals after 5 years to see if I want to have satellite stations there or not.
I love that. I listen. I want to be able to touch the 50 states too.
Yes, indeed.
Was there anything else you want our audience to know about the power and the value of qualitative data, as well as a special gem that is community tracking services?
The main thing that I want everybody to know about qualitative research is, and I got this from Dr. Joyce Washington podcast, is that your lived experience is data,
Mm.
and don't let no one else tell you otherwise. And if you are looking for someone to go out and locate your participants, track your data, reach out to me at communitytrackingservices.com, and I'm your girl.
So you already answered my last question about tell us where to find you. I love Princess. Let me tell you, I love it because I know I work with. I have a business owner I'm meeting with in the near future. I'm not gonna give too much away either. But when I was like, even though she's a business owner, she understands. I'll say she understands her customer. I'll say that she understands her customer so much so that she wants to dive more into it and be able to dive deeper into the whys. And so that's why I say, like, even though you may not be an academic institution, if you really want to understand the why behind your customer, if you really want to maybe even get funding to address a concern that you don't, it's not in your wheelhouse, but it's affecting their ability to do business with you need to be able to, one, listen to this episode all over again, but two, reach out to Princess, because doing focus groups is not for the light. It's not for the faint. It's not. I'll just say this, Princess, and please chime in. I see this too much where people just kind of throw things together because they want to get the answers to something, but they throw it together thinking that, oh, it's just a little survey. That kind of stuff grinds my gears when I see people throwing a survey together, and I'm like, you're not going to get what you need from that. It's not set up.
You have to ask the right questions. You have to have
Mhm.
the right participants there. So it's so much to it to just then asking questions, or you're not
Yes,
gonna get what you're looking for.
I agree. And so when we talk about focus groups, even though I can write some questions, I probably am not the go-to person for a focus group because my wheelhouse is more of, I understand like how it looks in a spreadsheet and like in a table. So I know how I want to ask the questions to get to the information, as well as how the response needs to look to help me like analyze the data. So for me, like, I'm not the go-to qualitative person, but someone like you is. And so I just want to reiterate the value of reaching out to someone like Princess, that understands how it's supposed to be done. Because listen, do not do that focus group all by yourself.
Right, because you have to know how to facilitate the group.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had to rescue anybody, like a group, like they try to do something and then they had to end up calling
No,
you?
I haven't.
Yeah,
They just reach out to me first.
but she was like, they know better. I had that where it's just like, we've tried to do this before, but like now we want to do a professional. And sometimes it's not like they were trying to just save money, but sometimes they don't know that people like you and I exist. And so it's
Right.
like, oh snap, like I don't have to do this anymore. That somebody actually like, this is what they do. So yes. That's all I got. Thank you so much, Princess, for joining. I appreciate your expertise. You are valued. And can you tell the people one more time how to get in contact with you?
Again, you can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Princess Jennings. We also have a business page under Community Tracking Services, just as you would see it in a dictionary. And our website is www.communitytrackingservices.com. You can go on there and book a free discovery call, and I can answer any additional questions you may have. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And thank you guys for joining me. I'm your host, Dr. Michele. It's always a pleasure to be able to share our insight and knowledge and just let you into our world. You can reach out to me on all things Mogul Beginnings. That's MOGL, Mogul Beginnings. Excuse me. You can reach out to me on social media with that handle, as well as my website. You literally can Google Mogul Beginnings. My company will come up first. I did my due diligence with Google. But yes, and then also make sure you check out Brownstone Worldwide. This is where we're broadcasting from right now. So check us out, all things Brownstone. You can visit brownstoneworldwide.com, as well as all the social media handles. It is a Black-owned media company. So if you're looking to advertise, if you're looking to get your message out there, check us out. We have a store. There's a magazine. There's actually a radio station. So it's a lot bigger than what you're listening to right now. So make sure you go check us out on all things Brownstone. Thank you again, Princess. And thank you again, listeners. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time,
Bye.
Why advertise with Brownstone Living Magazine? Number one, let's talk about the biggest thing that we need to talk about, and that's diversifying your advertising dollars. Don't just put your money on social media or in SMS messaging. It should be a wide range of percentages. Number two, the other thing that is most important is you want to make sure that you're diversifying how you can be found. If, say, for instance, your potential client doesn't come to social media, they're not going to find you. Diversify how you can be found, just like you are diversifying where you are spending your dollars. Let's also bring up the other thing that is so important, and that is the skyrocketing cost of digital advertising, where it is currently continues to expand. So you have to pay for so many people to see your ad, and you have to make sure that your call to action is just so, and you still might not make the mark. But with print and digital media for magazines and for Cityscape Radio and Brownstone Worldwide, the best part about this is that you get the opportunity to be seen in an evergreen environment.
Visit nccu2009.brownstoneworldwide.com.